Okay, it is Tuesday. It is 3-ish o'clock. Got a much later start than I wanted to, but I forgot I had a doctor's appointment this morning. So, we are getting, started. It is 75 degrees right now, which is amazing because a week ago it was negative temperatures. This is dash cracking weather. So, yeah, the next couple of days I plan on trying to get as many hours as I physically can do. I'm not in very good shape today because of the weather. Everybody and their mother want to jump on their projects, and so we've been incredibly busy at work. So, here we are. Let me show you what we got going on. So I've decided to cut out the core support because it is beat to hell. And most of it's not needed anyway. And all of this sits a lot lower than I want it to. So you can see this is all pushed in here and kind of bent at an angle. Same with this side. And then down here, see, it's all kinds of bent up. Like to hit too many parking stops. Ugh. Okay, so the plan is to cut it back basically directly in front of where the cross member bolts on, and get rid of all of this. Yeah, so you can see how far back all that's bent and how wavy it is, how bent up it is. All these mounts are bent back, so who knows where that's even going to sit. You see how much I had to cut out of the lower valance here to clear it. That's my biggest reason for doing it. The plan is cut that out and cut all of this out, cut it out all the way back to there, and that's all bent up anyway. Crash damage. Get rid of all of that and come in with the angle iron and essentially build a new core support that will attach to this piece here somehow on either side, and the radiator and condenser will bolt to it, and they'll go back about an inch further in and probably maybe lay back at an angle slightly, but higher. So, because this is my radiator fill, it's way underneath this thing. I mean, it'd almost be easier to go through the grill and fill it up, but we're not doing that either. So, yeah, that's broken anyway. One of the other things I'm going to do, because this is coming out today anyway, I'm going to leave the hoses off. I'm going to bypass the tranny cooler so that this thing will still move. Obviously, I'm not running it because there's nothing in the radiator. It's totally empty. But I need to be able to have it run, and I don't want it leaking oil everywhere. So soon, hopefully, this will be going down to my buddy's place to get the head gasket done. I'm a little loath, though, to do it too soon, because once it's done, there's nothing stopping me from driving it other than legalities like a windshield and lights and doors and stuff. But if I physically can drive it without blowing it up, then what's to stop me? So right now I can't drive it without blowing it up, so we're gonna wait as long as I can on that. I've got the job halfway paid for. I just need to come up with the rest of the money. But yeah, I figured that the angle iron isn't the strongest thing in the world, but it's probably stronger than this. And we'll use the heavier piece, or maybe even use some box steel or something for the piece across the bottom. Although this isn't very heavy. It's heavier than this. I mean, this I can move with my hand. That I can't. But we'll see. I'll get it all open and get to it and then start thinking about what I'm going to do. All right. Here's where we're at. that right now. I need to change the battery in the little sawzall there. I'm going to bring this up, and then once I have it out, I'm going to straighten it out a bit and drill the spot welds and take that piece out and try to get everything as straight as I can. Then I'm going to move it up and then build the angle iron. This will probably be the bottom piece since it's got all the mounts in it. But yeah, so there's this. Even if there's not a hole in it, I'm going to change it. This can be bent back a little bit to give us more clearance. And over here on the dryer, this line's kinked, so it's going to get replaced as well. I could probably find that on eBay for $5. The line, the dryer itself, I can probably get for 20 or 30 at work. That hose is probably 20 or 30 bucks at work. All right, I'm going to swap the battery and get back to work. All right, so I got this all out. I beat on it a little bit and I got it kind of straight. It's still got a little bit of a bow to it, but that shouldn't be a problem. I still need to straighten out the condenser mounts. But first, I'm going to drill these spot welds here, here. Actually, here. Those two I need to be careful on because I only need to take this piece off. I don't need to take the inside apart. I might actually use the belt sander to do those. And these ones here. Yep. I'm going to leave this on for now. All right, time to get busy. Okay. I got this piece of box tubing welded in. And cranking this thing up, the welder actually doesn't work too bad. Anyway, this is, I don't know how thick, 3/16 thick. It's pretty thick. But that's going to give us strength back down there. And now I just got to figure out where the radiator is going to go. All right, here we are. So I need to clean up this mess. But this is what I got done yesterday. This is my new condenser. That radiator is still good enough to use for mock-up, so I'm not too worried about it. I need to trim the tops here and then weld that piece across the top, and then I'll make brackets that will connect it to the upper valance filler piece, or whatever the hell you want to call it. That's gonna work. Now, in all of this, I didn't really achieve a lot. My goal was to hopefully move the radiator back, giving me a little more room between the upper valance, I don't know what the hell you call this piece, but the upper valance that was here and the condenser. Because as bent up as that one was, it wasn't really sitting where it needed to be. So as of right now, everything is exactly as tight as it was before. But it's been moved up, which is what I really wanted to do. I'm going to have to cut a hole in there to clear the radiator cap, which is great. It's awesome. This piece will probably go along the outside edge, maybe. And then I'll make some tabs come off for the mounts. I need to find the grommets that go in the holes there and then go here. I also brought out the white lower valance so I can trim it to fit, because now along the bottom there it's not sticking out. I might still have to trim a little in the corners, just a little spot, but it's not like it was before. So I'm going to get started on that. When this is all tied up, I do need to tie the corners back to the inner fenders under these fenders. And then I'm also going to go, when it's all done, and I'll get some angle iron and I'll bring up a piece off of that square tubing to the bottom of this original core support piece just for extra strength. It's just welded onto the flange on the edge, and I don't know that all that weight. It'll probably be safe. Hell, even if I just come off from there over to here, it'd probably be enough. That's probably what I'll do, actually. But yeah, I'm gonna get started. Okay, a little detour. So the fan motor was really loose here in the shroud, and it appears that maybe, allegedly, there's supposed to be some grommets in here, maybe. They had it zip tied together. So I'm gonna see what I can do with some washers and maybe find some kind of plastic bushings or something I can make. Take this apart. So it appears that these, I thought this was a stack of washers, but if you look at the inside, it's solid. So it's like a thick washer with these ribs. And from the appearance, those were pressed into here. And it just looks to me like somehow they didn't have the right washer, because it just pulled through there. So if you just you just put a bigger washer than what that hole is underneath this, it ought to hold it all in place, I think. Yeah. This has been driving me nuts since day one. So, trying to find those grommets. They're in a pill container. And I've looked through all the little containers that I've got. Can't find them. They're probably somewhere in here. This needs to get cleaned out. Especially since I need to get working on the back here, tying the back sections together eventually. But yeah, so I'm gonna do this right now. Found them. Okay, this was the side that was inside out. I got it back pretty much round. That side too. All right, we're gonna pop the bushing in and see what happens. Okay, I'm calling it for tonight anyway. Still got tomorrow. There's still a bunch that needs to be done before I can call this finished, but I need to tie it into something. Tie it into the inner fenders there. Somehow though, I'm missing, I had a big chunk of that angle iron and it's missing. I gotta find it. So a minute ago, I had the grill sitting on it and it cleared everything. I did have to put a little bit of a bow in the condenser. It's not gonna hurt anything. There's still plenty of clearance between it and the radiator, but it did clear. You can see, I got clearance to spare. I did have to trim a little here and a tiny bit there where the frame horns came out, but nothing like what I had to do with the green valance, the 61. You can see, you can't even see anything down there. Whew. I mean, look at that. Just like Mother Nash intended. Got this cut out. Hopefully there's enough clearance there for a radiator cap. If not, I'll have to do more. Hood latch is going to be an issue. I mean, I don't have to run a hood latch. I can't run this hood latch anyway because this is for the 62, 63, or 62. I don't know if 63 is the same. But it hits. It hits there, and I don't know if, I don't think there's enough clearance between it and the radiator. I mean, I can get my finger in there, but I guess really the plan would be to remove the top that I just put on there and see if this would clear it, but I'm not doing it right now. Yeah, so once I get that tied into the sides, we should be okay. I've got about a 1/4 inch clearance between this line and the fan, and the overflow is touching the battery tray, which is fine because I have to rework the battery tray anyhow. Whew. Okay. Yes, it's coming together. Bumper brackets, I'm not even gonna think about bumper brackets for now. That's so far from my need to worry about. Yeah. See, the bottom of this needs to come in. That. This fender needs to come forward. Yep. Anyway, it's something to worry about tomorrow. We'll look everything over. For now, though, I think we're done for tonight. All right, let me get this mess cleaned up. It doesn't look like I can leave this thing out again tonight. Looks like it could rain. It's not supposed to rain. Looks like we could have a heavy dew. It is getting kind of cold. It's going to be cool tomorrow as well. So yeah, I'm going to clean this all up. Alrighty. So, last night, after I got everything cleaned up, went to pull the car in. Wouldn't start. Crank, 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 crank. Wouldn't start. Nothing. Cycle the key and I could hear the relay clicking on, but I didn't hear the fuel pump. So I went out and checked all the fuses and relays and connections. I did notice that with the key on, if I move the fuse box, I could hear it clicking. So there's apparently a bad connection in there somewhere, but I don't think that has anything to do with this. So at that point I gave up and was like, all right, I'm going to push it into the garage here. And the shift interlock wouldn't work. Okay, so it's got to be related somehow. Did a bunch of looking online, Google searches, nothing. I get a million things about, the shift interlock. I get a million things about fuel pump. I get a million things about, your car's not starting because the timing belt jumped, because the starter's bad. It's like, come on. It was running fine, no problems. And then I did all this work. I left it out the other night. But, unless from all the welding I fried the computer or something, I don't know. But let's see if it'll start. Nope, no fuel pump, but that relay's clicking. Oh, hey. Nope. Okay. So, yeah, there's that. All right, I'm going to roll this thing down the driveway and start checking fuses again. There we have it. All the frustration, all the bullshit. Here's what happened. This ground right here used to attach to the core support. Now I've got a big fat ground coming off the negative post and bolting to the transmission case. So it should be more than grounded. Plus it cranked over just fine, so should have been okay. Now I had this cable left over from the golf cart, and it wasn't bad, it was just really small. I made bigger cables for it. So I went ahead and put it on there, fired right up. How stupid is that? I don't understand. You see my exhaust coming up through the thermostat housing. God, that is so frustrating. I'm just glad it runs now. It's always run good. Well, always since I put coils in it. Yep, see? There's that solenoid. So now I can shift it. Okay. I'm gonna let it run for a minute or two. I just find that truly amazing that a redundant ground, at least the way I would consider it, would cause that kind of trouble. Whatever. I was afraid it was this immobilizer chip in the key, because everything I read says to have that reset, you have to take it to the dealer, but people steal Hondas all the time. How the hell are they getting them to run? That doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway. Okay, so today's plan is I need to pull the front clip off, the fenders, everything, and I need to tie my new core support to the inner fenders. And then I can consider that job basically done. I need to do a little grinding and some painting, but I still got to drill that top plate out to get the grommets in it, but it'll be all right. Okay, time to get busy. I screwed up. So I've been busting my ass on this car since about 10 o'clock this morning. Sun's going down. It's almost 7. I'm exhausted. So no, I screwed up. So I last night it wouldn't start. And so, I was basically stressing about that all night. I got that going this morning, as you saw in the clip before. And then that's the last thing I filmed. And I've done a lot. So, I'm not going to pull this all back apart again. Damn. So, I modified the battery tray. So originally the battery went at an angle. I cut the sides here and brought them in. Brought that one out. Put another piece of metal in. It's really close to this bracket here, so I can't really go any further. I probably have to use a Group 26 battery. I need to work on a fuse box mount. So I did that. I wrapped that up not too long ago. I finally got that welded. I didn't get that going yet, but I've got a piece of metal I need to trim because there's a pretty good gap on that. Again, I'm not pulling this apart again. I finally welded. I don't think you can see it. So, I can't see. Damn, that's amazing. I don't know if you can see it, but I finally welded the Rambler inner fender to the Honda inner fender. And I welded that piece of box tubing, brought it up over there. Okay. Have to turn off this light. Anyway, that actually came out really well. I'm very happy with that. There's a better view of it. It's pretty close to the headlight bucket there, but it'll be all right. And it's not a crash bar or anything like that. It's just to hold the new core support in place, which is not bolted down. So, and then I made a huge mess with the transmission fluid, which needs to be flushed anyway, but I'm really happy with how well that's fitting. I'm going to have to do a little hammer and dolly work there. I might even weld a piece of metal in those. That's where the bumper brackets go, but obviously they're not going to work anymore. I'm going to have to build something to come off the frame and then come off that square tubing I put in. I don't know, but that's down the road. And then adjusting the fenders and all that stuff, figure that all out. I did get that one little AC line, had a little kink in it, but I was able to get it straightened out and then kind of bend it around to fit. And I think it's going to work. I do need to buy that one hose and a new dryer. I need to get some nuts. Okay. So yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get anything recorded. Not really. I gotta clean up all this crap. Whew. So where are we at on this project? Well, I have caught myself being really negative with stuff. Like, this project here. This has been one of the most, I don't know if difficult's the right word for it, but it took the most amount of head scratching and figuring out honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, it shouldn't have even worked because I didn't measure anything. Everything's been eyeballed and it all worked. I eyeballed one side and I just copied the other. I cut, one side to fit and then I cut the other side the same length. So, yeah. Anyway. So, keeping with our budget hack theme here, this project took the most time. So, it was kind of one of those things where I really put off doing it because of how difficult I knew it was going to be. And I mean, here we are. It's basically done now. And it took me all 3 days of working 6+ hours, 4+ hours on this project. And I usually only do 2 or 3 hours a day. That needs to quit. But that being said, putting in all these hours tomorrow, Saturday, are going to be miserable. We'll see. I have to go pick up some new meds tomorrow anyway. So, the negativity, I kind of subconsciously talked myself out of doing this job over and over and over again. I hated the radiator sticking down below. I hated seeing it down below the valance. I really didn't want to cut up this valance. This valance in fair to good shape. Well, the other one was just junk. This one's got a pretty good booger over on that corner, but other than that, it's pretty straight. So, I kept, like I said, subconsciously talking myself out of it. I never actually said, I don't want to do it. But I kept looking for other stupid things to do and then kind of getting lost. But instead of thinking, God, that was a lot of work, and I've got nothing else to show for it but that one project that you can hardly even see now. I mean, with all this off and those 2 pieces I put on today, curved pieces, kind of had the race car look or the drift car look, whatever. Oh, one of the other things I did is I drilled down through the Rambler inner fender so you could get to the bolt for the strut, the center bolt for the strut. And I could only get to it it's offset, but at least now it's not hitting anything. There's a hole there. And this side was completely rusted out. It opened up so many holes. That side is really pitted, but I didn't see any holes. But I digress. So the positive point about this, I spent all these days getting this done, and I got it done. It's out of the way. I can pretty well forget about it. There's just a little bit there. I need to kind of wrap those two pieces around and weld them. Maybe put a little primer on it. You know, call it good. I mean, this whole thing's going to get blown apart anyway. I got to seam seal everything. The next big project I keep talking myself out of is the windshield, the gasket area, the pinch weld. I already did the back window. The windshield's going to be a bit harder, I think, because of the curves, and it needs to be about as close to perfect as possible. So we got that done, and the steering wheel is kind of dry. It's still a little tacky, but these past few days with it being so warm have been very good for it. Whew. Okay, so other things. Now, my preference on these old cars is I like to keep them period correct-ish. So, like, you know, I mean, I really don't like big wheels and skinny tires or, you know, low-profile tires on classic cars. I don't like it at all. It's not wrong. It's just not my preference. And so, you know, I'm not into the ultra-modern leather interior and all that crap either. Sound systems, you know, all that crap. I have no problem with fuel injection. You know, like somebody wants to do a Hellcat swap on a 69 Charger or 68 Roadrunner. That's cool. That's fine. I mean, that's excellent, actually. It's kind of what I did here. You know, but, like, for the Dodge, you know, the tachometer and the vacuum gauge look like they're from that period, even though they're not that old. Same thing with the Courier, you know, with Whitey. Same thing with the Cricket here. That I always try to keep them period correct. Now, this car, I care less about that because, you know, the seats, half of the interior is going to be Honda and the other half is going to be Rambler. So the dashboard and the tops of the doors and maybe the back panels, if I can find them, you know, are going to be Rambler parts, and they're going to be painted that I don't even know what color you want to call it. It's a reddish brown. And with gold, or that goldish copperish accents, like the steering wheel and stuff. But, you know, the seats and the carpet and the center control, center console, shifter, you know, the HVAC system, all that is Honda. And so I'm not opposed on this car to running like LED headlights, like real LED headlights, not the cheap, crappy ones or the conversion ones that blind people. I mean, the ones that actually work. LED taillights, maybe, you know, tint the windows. I mean, tinted windows definitely have a place, especially for me since I tend to overheat. But they don't look good on a lot of classic cars. I'm not opposed to it in this car. So, I mean, it's just a matter of preference and style, I guess. And beyond that, you know, it's like, don't worry about what other people are going to think. If it's your car and it's what you want to do it. You know, to hell with people and their opinions. Do what makes you happy. I'm not building this car for other people. I'm building this car so I can get to work every day cheap. Basically, I'm driving a 2001 Civic as a commuter car. But it looks cool because it's got a Rambler body. Anyway, that's it for this week. I'm really sorry I didn't get anything filmed today, but I did get a lot done. I'm a little sunburned even. I mean, God, it was a perfect day. It was 65 degrees. A little breeze blowing. I mean, it was great. But anyway, enjoy, and we'll be back at this maybe next week. It's supposed to rain Tuesday. And as much as I hate the rain, I really want it to rain like hell to wash all the salt off the road so I can drive the Cricket, I can drive the Courier, I can drive anything I want without having to worry about it rusting. The poor Mazda over there, the back bumper and the wheels are totally rusty just from driving it, you know, a couple times in the salt. I need to go wash it off. Anyway, that's it. Have a nice night. See you guys next week.